Alright, so up next we have Gail Creighton Davies, who is the Director of Rhapsodate Consulting, Co-Director of Picnic & Co, and founder of the G8 Ladies. Gail, take it away.
Hi everybody. Is that okay? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you understand me? Okay, so I'm talking today about my story. So in 2008, we welcomed the absolute gorgeous Moya to the world. She's my eldest daughter. So I don't have a picture. I was driving in thinking I should have had one of her at the birth because she had the blondest, spikiest hair. It was like Billy Idol had just been reborn, and the cutest face. And I thought, wow, this girl is stunning. And then I could hear them in the delivery room saying, "Oh, can you check for Down syndrome?" And I thought, I just heard that. Like, that's not real. So then a couple of days later, the pediatric doctor, he came along. He said, "Look, you know, it's confirmed. She's got Down syndrome." And so at that point, the world as we knew it completely fell apart. So if you can imagine, you've got your plans, you've got the child, the women will know you've been pregnant for forever, and you've got all these images in your head of what this child's going to do, and they're going to be a doctor, they're going to be an actor, I'm going to retire early based on this child, I'm going to milk it for everything, and all these ideas. And as soon as you hear they've got Down syndrome, it's like, right, well, that child now doesn't exist. What can this child do? Am I ever going to send this child off to university? Is this child ever going to live alone? Are they going to marry? Am I going to be a grandparent? And I remember Mum and Dad came over. They flew over for her being born, and my mum's also called Moya. And I remember Mum was snuggling her, and I remember looking at her going, oh my God, if I don't have any more daughters, I'm never going to be able to do that. Because in my mind at the time, I thought, well, girls with Down syndrome can't have children. So it was a bit of a bad moment, and my husband and I, we just said, right, well, you know, we're going to not cry separately, cry in front of each other, and we went into a period of mourning, because we had lost what we thought we were going to have. But it was really interesting, because a good friend of mine, you know, we sent out the yay, baby's born, and then follow up, baby's all healthy, but got Down syndrome. And one of my really good friends sent this text message back, and I'll never ever forget this. And I thank her for it all the time. She said, "Hey Gail, got the message. Thanks very much. Great news. Fantastic. Welcome, Moya. You know, so sometimes life just chucks a curveball at you, and it's how you hit it back that counts." And at that moment I thought, oh, pull up your big girl pants and get on with it. Come on, you've got to look after this child. So that's what we started to do. And we started learning. We were having to learn everything all new again. And there's a brilliant article, actually my sister Emma, she found, she found this article, and it was called Welcome to Holland, and it just was perfect. And I think it relates to everything in life. So you're planning a holiday. So this is all about how do you cope with a child with a disability? How do you get your head around it? You plan a holiday, you're going to Italy. You've bought, this is before the euro, you've got the lira, you've learnt the language, you've packed with the summer clothes, you're all ready to go, you get off the plane and they say, hey, welcome to Holland. So you've got to relearn another language, you've got to get different currency, you maybe buy some different clothes, but Holland's lovely as well. And if you spend your time wishing you were in Italy, you're going to miss all the amazing things about Holland. And that's what we thought, you know, this is actually going to be pretty sensational. So we were really lucky. We got hooked in with the disability services of the government organisations, and we started learning whatever we can possibly learn about how to raise a child with a disability. And one of the things, it was really funny, we were at one of the first sessions, and they said, like, a child with, especially Down syndrome, they don't react. You know, if you push them, they'll just fall. They don't put their hand out. So we spent a lot of time putting Moya on a little trampoline and bouncing it to make her fall. And eventually, after lots of face planting, she started to put her hand down. And you know, she still will react quite slowly, but we're getting there. There's still a lot of face planting. So really just understanding, well, what is people's reaction? What's their perception of what's going on around them? And when I think about that, and I think about, well, what are we all doing with, you know, you see people on social media and their whole life is there and they're living it, and then they wonder why people are having reactions to them. I think, well, you know, look at what's around. Don't forget, know when to put your hand out to protect yourself. Know when to shut the thing down and not put everything up. So that's something I thought, oh, that's actually a really good takeaway for everything in life. And another very interesting thing we did was, we were in a group therapy session with other parents, and we had this, you got into pairs, and one person lay on the floor, and they could only move when the other person said, now, bend that ankle, lift the knee, lift your leg under, all the instructions to stand up. That's all you have to do, stand up. We couldn't do it. These instructions were going all over the place. We were just arms and legs everywhere. And the best thing to do was actually just lie down on the floor with them, practice it yourself, then get up and go, right, now I know, here's the instructions you need to do. And I live in the world of projects. I have an IT background, but I live in the world of projects. So project, program, portfolio management. And one of the first things about change management and stakeholder management is know where the people you're trying to get them to stand up, the people you're trying to influence to help them accept the change, is to know where they're at. Go through it yourself, and then you'll actually know what steps they need to take, and they can see what perception it is. If they're lying on the floor and they think it's not safe to stand up, there's nothing you do is going to make them stand up. So just understanding your stakeholders, going on the journey with them and showing them that it's actually safe to stand up. So all these things that we were learning from how to raise a child with a disability was so relevant in everyday life, and I just thought this was absolutely fantastic. So just looking, I put these slides together quite late last night, so they're all quite in random order. This is my daughter's. I think she was probably about 2 years ago, and she's writing, so all these things, children with disabilities, they can't write. Yeah, she is, she's writing. We have milestones, everybody has milestones, and we all get there in our own good time. My daughter wants to be a teacher, and we'll get there. We're just going to take the scenic route. And everybody does things at different times. My husband, he's an engineer, but his first degree was in sports science. He got there in the end, he just took his merry time. He totally missed his country, could be a lot richer if he had it on the right path first. I'll keep reminding him about that. Yeah, so look, whenever we have our successes, we really, really appreciate them a lot more. Whenever in 2011, we welcomed my second daughter along, so it was just in the flood time, so we're in the Wesley Hospital. Moya's sitting there, she's 3. We're watching the TV and the horrendous things were going on in the Lockyer Valley. And Moya's looking at the TV screen, and we're sitting there going, oh my God, that's terrible. Oh wow. And there's tree trunks coming down Coronation Drive out the front. And Moya said her first phrase, fuck's sake. And we're like, you're right. Yeah. And then of course glared at each other, who said that? I didn't fucking say that. He's Welsh, so he swears as bad as I do. So this is Moya. We went to, this is the STEM Fest. She does the computer club, got a bit bored with that after a while. But her on the iPad in school, the teachers were just telling me the other day, somehow she managed to find out how to share stuff through the iPads. The teachers don't know how to do this, but her pictures keep popping up in grade 2 iPads and grade 4 laptops, and they don't know what on earth she's doing. So she's actually pretty good on iDevices, and she keeps reprogramming ours. This is her. Any opportunity, she'll be up performing, talking, teaching. She wants to be a teacher. So we just encourage her, and we just make sure that we're giving her every opportunity to get up. She does dance classes, jazz classes, swimming, anything at all. She's up on stage. She's, of course, dictating to everybody else. So everybody's got their own style and their own time. Some days she doesn't feel like it. It's not going to happen. Don't push it. She's actually a published author. So one of the reasons I'm here is I'm a co-author in a book called The Gumption Trigger. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I was very proud. We have our big launch. The books have finally arrived this week, but we've got our big launch next week, and she beat me to it. There's 8-year-old. Of course, it's about the holiday home. She can't wait to go. But, you know, kids can do anything. She can do anything. So all the things that kids with Down syndrome can't do this, they can't do that. It's absolute rubbish. So it's really good learnings. And yeah, one thing I always do, how am I doing for time? Okay. So one thing I always use in work, and there's days when you think, oh God, I just want to pack my bag and go home. I'm doing a piece of work at the minute for an organisation, and there are challenges. I'll just use the ply words. There are challenges every day, and there's some days I really just want to say, you know what, I'm out of here. But then you think, no, hang on a second. Don't ever give up, because you don't know when that breakthrough's going to happen. And I can see her constantly trying and trying. Sometimes it's trying my patience, but she's trying and trying. She's going to get the word out. She wants to say something. She wants to achieve something, and she's not going to give up, even though it's like, stop doing handstands, your arms are getting tired, you've got muscle fatigue, and you keep hitting your head on the floor. But she's not going to give up. So I learn a lot from her. Don't ever give up, because you just don't know when you're going to get that success. And more recently, she's walking on her hands up, so there's less bruises on her forehead. And this is, again, something I always live by. Back to my friends, sometimes life chucks a curveball at you, and you just have to hit it back. So that's really all I'm going to talk about for that. Any questions?